Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I've decided to teach you guys who follow me trendline strategy. That is one of the things I've found to be easy, more so when you're maneuvering on any chart. And I will start from episode 1. So if you really want to master how to trade using trendline, these episodes will really help you. So what you need to do, make sure you subscribe and make sure you like the video and make sure you leave a comment. So we will be discussing how to do trend line and then now from episode 1. Maybe I don't know how many episodes I'll do, but today the whole series is master trend line strategy. And in this episode 1 is how do you draw trend lines the right way, because I have seen so many people when they come, maybe you open on 15 minutes and already you draw your trend line like that. So what are the right ways to draw your trend line? Because I see many people, they just pick any time frame and they just draw their trend line like that. Is it the right way to do it, or how do you go about it? So if you want to know, make sure you watch this video until the end. Come back tomorrow and you will see me teaching you. You'll see many, you will learn something. You will learn something about trendline strategy and how to draw trendline, okay? So number one thing I want you to master, number one thing for you to master trendline, always start from monthly, because the monthly trend line will always give you direction. So we will start from our monthly time frame, then we'll go to weekly. I will show you how to go about it. Then you go to weekly, then you go to daily. So by the time you're on your daily, if you go to 4 hour, you can flip any time frame that you want. So the rule here is always start with a monthly, because if you just go directly to 15 minutes, you'll never see a monthly trend line, which is a very, very strong trend line. So always go to higher time frame. So one mistake that I see people do when they are doing trend line is they focus on lower time frame. They start their trend line on lower time frame, and unlike the effective monthly or weekly or daily. So here we will go on the daily time frame. So I'm analyzing gold. So you'll just go on the daily time frame, and this is gold. This is daily. Let's go on monthly time frame. So the gold looks like this. So this is the chart on gold. Let me just delete. So we have said the key thing is time frame. You start from higher time frame. So you can see from the monthly, you have your highest point. And from the monthly, you have your lowest point. So of course, we want to see, is the market on our highest point or is it on the lowest point? Where is the market? If the market is on your highest point, it means the market is trending. Buyers are in control. So the trend line, of course, you will just connect from where the market is coming from to where it is going. So a trend line is considered accurate if it touches at least 2 points. And don't have trend line like this. We are not supposed to have trend line cutting through the prices. So don't make your trend line cut through the prices. That's another thing that I need to highlight. So make sure your trend line, is not cutting through. So from your highest, you can imagine from the lowest, I've said, this is our lowest, and it was looking like a double bottom. So from our lowest, so I'm not taking I'm taking from the points of the week. Trendline traders, they really value weeks. So from the week, so I don't need to cut through the prices. If you see your trendline cutting through the prices, it's not accurate. So when the price was here, I can connect these two lines, the first area with this second area, but see what happens. It will cut through. So we don't want that market to cut through. That's why we'll bring it. So at least it has 2 points. When I say 2 points, I mean there is point 1 connecting to point 2. So the importance of this monthly time trend line is, in case we have a retracement, most probably the market will come to tap this trend line. That is the importance. We know if this market wants to retest, where is it coming? Because a trend line, at least it has to have like 3 touches. Either the that touch, it comes, bounces, and continue to go up, or it comes, touches, and breaks. Okay, so that on the monthly, you have a higher trend line. Now, another thing, we can, because this is a bigger space, we can also try to connect this area with this area. You can see there is a space here. If you don't do this on the week, you may not see it very clearly on the weekly. So the goal here is to connect one point to this point. So don't fix your points like this, because you will have the trend line cutting through. So you will have one point connecting to the other point, okay? So I have point 1 and have point 2. And still you can see, if I still try to do it on the monthly, it is so stiff, but still that is how the trend line is. So I have points. In the monthly, I have been able to just get 3 trend lines. And before the third one, now the importance of these 2 trend lines, they are so important, because you might be thinking when the retracement starts, the market will come to the third one, but it can come to the first one and bounce and market continue. And you're wondering, why did the market not touch my trend line? Is because you didn't have the 2 trend lines, or the market can come to the second one. So that's why we even have those inner trend lines to help us to be able to know or to tell the direction of the market. So once you have the 3 trend lines, most of the time in a trendy market, you can get 2 to 3 trend lines on the monthly chart. So if I flip on the weekly, I already know, and this trend line, they will not interfere. So the only thing you will do is to adjust. Let me just remove this yellow things. So today we are just learning how to lay our trend line. So the only thing you will do is to adjust. So like we can adjust this one. So you can see this is the weekly trend line, and you can see there are spaces here. So if you leave it like that, you might think that the market, when it starts to sell, it will come down to this trend line, but maybe it reaches halfway. The reason is because there is another tight trend line that if you fail to put it, you see there's another trend line that is here. You can see there's another tight trend line. So this one is on the weekly. So on the weekly, let's see how many we will get. So you can imagine someone who is going to draw their trend line on the 15 minutes, and someone who is drawing their trend line on the weekly, of course, you will not have the same results. The one who is drawing a trend line on the higher time frame, they have a high chance. So once you have the first trend line, I've told you each time frame you can get at least 2 or 3 trend lines. Once we have, and you can see how perfectly they are aligning. Once we get the trend line on the weekly, so it has touched one and it has touched the second one. So I can still try to bring this trend line. If you can see, this trend line was so accurate when they broke here, and even they retested. And I remember seeing this and I was like, gold is on a sale, and you can imagine they broke. I will come there on episodes on how to trade, but you can see those who are trading using Trendline, they knew since July the market is on a sale. So, and it has dropped 9,000 pips. So Trendline, the Trendline traders who they have their Trendline ready, they already know. But now we cannot rely on this Trendline because already it is broken. So we will just assume we want to start everything afresh. So on the weekly, we have gotten 2. Remember, these 3 are for the monthly. So the only thing you can do, you can say black is monthly and then you change the color. Let's say you say blue will represent weekly, like that. Maybe because if you see a trend line, you can know that this one came from this time frame. So blue is representing the weekly. And then now when we go to the daily time frame, now this is the daily time frame. Remember, the daily time frame, we don't have another trend line, like a tight trend line on the daily time frame, because the black ones are for the monthly long-term trend line, and then the blue ones are for the weekly. Now, on the daily, what we can be looking for is the trend line for buyers, the one that is, you know, that these trend lines that I have put, they are what can I say? They are presenting like a support. But now, how can we tell if buyers are very strong? If they break this, let me put it red. If they break this one now is reacting like resistance. So this is an upper up trend line. And okay, another video, I will do an episode of giving them different names. Today, I just want us to focus on the trend lines and how to place them. So the red one, if you see the red one, you already know that one, if it is broken, buyers are in control. And you can see that's what we are getting from the daily. And I can still squeeze it. That one, I can still squeeze it. I can still squeeze that one. Not even squeeze, like I have still some room of showing you that we are almost breaking. So where the market is currently, this is gold, where the market is currently, we are about to break. So the only time I will adjust this trend line if tomorrow a red candle closes. In case a red candle closes, that's the time you are allowed to adjust the trend line. I hope we are okay. So if the following day a red candle closes, now I can adjust my trend line like this. But right now, I'm not supposed to adjust because this candle can break the trend line. And once they break the trend line, let me tell you, they are going to 34.15. But if a candle closes red, the market is dropping. And that's how we will come to there. This video is just for you to know how to place. So I have said, when you see the red trend line, it's a resistance. It's just acting as a resistance. So if I go to 4 hour now, this is how I have. This is what I have. So on 4 hour, I'm already told to do the adjusting, because you can see 4 hour, I have green followed by red. So the only time I will adjust if a red candle appears on the daily. I don't know how other people do it, but you can see this area is very strong. It's very, very strong. Now, the only things you can do is to adjust to, you can see, you can adjust your levels accurately. So when you open your chart at the end of the day, you're supposed, even if it's on 4 hour, they're supposed to be aligning. They're not supposed to be misplaced. So I can tell what the market wants to do. I can tell when I'm trading gold, I'm in a place where if they break, I know where the market is going. Now, the problem with gold, if they break this red trend line, because that is the highest, I don't know where the market is going, because we will be on our all-time high. But if they break this blue zone trend line, I know it can drop to this one, it can drop to the black one, it can continue. So my chances, I would want gold to start breaking down, because for me, I'm seeing it more of a sell than more of a buy, because it is on a trend line where it is supposed to be rejected. And you can see we are 0.1, 2, or 3. Now, I wouldn't want to go to lower time frame, because now I don't want again to squeeze. You can see I can even put this trend line there, and now I can put it a different color like gold, and that is the tightest trend line, because if this market breaks out this one, this tight trend line, I want you even to try. Of course, it will be coming down here. So I don't want us to focus on very, very tight trend line. I just want you to know how to actually draw trend line, and we will be picking each lesson from where I stopped. So I will not delete this. So from episode 2, we will come and I will take that lesson from where we stopped. So it's good if you're watching any episode, always starts from episode 1 so that you can understand what we are doing and you can be able to get everything about it. And I will focus more on gold, because once you get one thing right, if we get gold right, you can trade anything else. So I will be focusing on gold. And yeah, so my analysis, even if I can go on, let's say, for instance, I go on 1 hour, the only thing I'll do is just to adjust the little bit. And the reason I've told you, the reason why you're seeing this, the market broke out of this trend line, is because I'm still waiting on the daily. The daily is what will confirm, because this trend line has, as we can go on the daily, you can see that is where the market is. There is a week on the daily. So that week is what you're seeing so many candles. So unless daily breaks for me, because if I come to weekly, there's nothing. So I'm not governed by weekly, but I'm governed by the daily. So the daily candle is what mostly it will highlight for me. So even if I come on the 1 hour, I may not even be able to touch anything, but I can adjust this, I can adjust that. So yeah, let's continue the next lesson from here. This lesson was just to show you how to draw your trend line. If still you're getting difficult on how to draw trend line, just watch so many videos. The next thing is, after you draw the trend line, now what do you do next? So make sure you follow me. Make sure, I want to teach trend line strategy for free. This is not what I teach on my paid mentorship program. My paid mentorship program is, I teach strategies. So if you can crack trend lines and you are able to see and to be able to govern yourself, it will be easier even to come to my class and to be able to learn under me. And again, I always do this because of the people who cannot afford my services. I charge $1,000 for my course and $1,500 for my mentorship Zoom class that goes for 1 month. And let's be serious, no, or real, not everyone who will be able to pay you 1,500. So when I start a series, I'm starting for that person. In fact, I'm doing it for either the person who will see the value and come to my student, become my student, and but more so, I'm dedicating to that person who will never be my paid student, and I want them to be profitable in Forex. So see you next time. In fact, it's tomorrow. See you tomorrow for the next lesson. Bye-bye. Love you.